Released in November 2014, LEGO Batman 3 Beyond Gotham was developed by Traveller's Tales, more commonly known as TT Games, and arrived at a critical moment for the studio, the LEGO video game franchise, and the superhero genre itself. Warner Brothers and DC Comics were playing catch-up with Marvel Studios, who were at the height of the Marvel Cinematic Universe's dominance. The previous LEGO Batman game was a huge hit. Released in 2012, fans loved being able to snap on Batman's cape and explore a dark and detailed open-world Gotham City. But Warner Brothers and TT Games wanted the next game to be bigger. Much bigger. So how would it come together? Were they simply going to snap on a few new pieces to this well-constructed LEGO set? Or were they going to tear it all down and try something new? This is the story of a studio at the peak of its success, trying to figure out how much is too much. They wanted to escape being grounded in repetition, but risked finding themselves lost in space. If you're not familiar with TT Games, they're the UK-based studio responsible for basically every major LEGO video game you've ever heard of. They've been churning out these brick-smashing adventures since 2005's LEGO Star Wars, and by 2014, they had the formula down to a science. Traveller's Tales was founded back in 1989 by John Burton and Andy Ingram. The company became known for its proprietary engine technology and its ability to deliver consistent, polished products on aggressive schedules. Unlike some of the studios we've covered in previous retrospectives, studios fighting for survival or dealing with layoffs, TT Games was thriving. They were Warner Brothers' golden goose, pumping out reliable hits year after year. All the ingredients were there. Licensed IPs with huge fandoms and a fun, family-friendly, nostalgic package with addictive gameplay. The pressure they faced wasn't existential. It was the pressure of maintaining impossibly high standards while operating on a 7-month release schedule. But LEGO Batman 3 needed to be bigger and more ambitious than LEGO Batman 2, which had introduced voice acting and a massive open-world Gotham. It also needed to ship on time, hit its sales targets, and not break the formula that was working so well. The solution was to go wide instead of deep, pack in as many characters as possible, visit as many locations as possible, and worry about whether it all holds together later. It's a strategy that worked commercially. The game sold well and reviewed decently, but as we'll see, it came with trade-offs that fans are still debating. Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment, for their part, saw LEGO Batman 3 as more than just another licensed game. This was 2014, the year of DC Comics' 75th anniversary, and they wanted a celebration that would appeal to every generation of DC fans. That meant cameos, deep cuts, and a roster so massive it would appeal to even the most obsessive comic book fans, the kind of fans who name their daughters after Batman villains. The narrative wastes no time getting weird. Brainiac, the classic DC villain with a skull fetish and a hoarding problem, decides Earth would look great shrunk down and added to his bottled world collection. To stop him, the Justice League has to do the unthinkable, team up with the Legion of Doom. It's a classic enemy of my enemy setup that gives the writers an excuse to throw every DC character they can think of into the mix. While the player starts in the sewers of Gotham, the action quickly leaves Earth behind, bouncing between the Batcave, the Watchtower, the Hall of Justice, and the Hall of Doom. There are also 6 lantern planets representing different emotions: love, hope, rage, greed, fear, compassion, and willpower. Each planet is visually distinct and serves as a hub world for its own set of missions. It's worth noting how little this Batman game is actually about Batman. I mean, his name is on the box, but he's surprisingly absent from large chunks of the story. He's there for the opening, shows up in key cutscenes, but once you're hopping between lantern planets and managing a roster of 150+ characters, Batman becomes just another face in the crowd. He's probably front and center for maybe a third of the main story missions, and even less if you're chasing 100% completion. That's not necessarily a bad thing. The game is clearly trying to be a Justice League simulator, but it does raise the rhetorical question of whether calling it LEGO Batman 3 was more about sales than accurately representing the product. In terms of length, the main story takes about 8 to 10 hours to complete, but if you're a completionist, you're looking at 25 to 35 hours or more. At its core, LEGO Batman 3 follows the tried-and-true LEGO game formula. Smash everything in sight, collect studs, solve simple environmental puzzles, and unlock an absurd number of characters. The game mixes traditional third-person platforming with some new mechanical additions. There are also side-scrolling and spherical on-rails shooting segments that feel like simplified bullet hell arcade games. They're fine, I guess?
Tense!
They break up the pace, but they also feel a bit jarring compared to the standard LEGO gameplay loop. One of the recurring gameplay elements is the special suit system for Batman, Robin, Cyborg, the Joker, and Lex Luthor. You'll need to swap between suits to access different abilities. It's a staple of the series, but it creates friction in a game that's obsessed with having 150+ characters. Here's one issue, though. Once you unlock the full roster in free play mode, most of those suit abilities are redundant. Need to fly? Just pick Superman. Need tech abilities? Pick Cyborg. Need detective vision? Pick any of a dozen characters who have it built in. The game wants you to celebrate its massive character variety, but it also can't quite let go of the manual suit swapping mechanic from earlier entries. Speaking of earlier entries, LEGO Batman 2 featured a unified, seamless open world where you could traverse all of Gotham City without loading screens. It was beloved by fans and felt like a genuine evolution of the series. LEGO Batman 3 ditched it. Instead, the game fragments exploration into smaller hub areas. The total explorable space might actually be larger on paper, but it's compartmentalized. You can't just seamlessly travel from one location to another. So why the change? Well, development resources and team logistics. Breaking the world into separate hubs meant different teams could work on different planets simultaneously without stepping on each other's toes. It was more efficient to build multiple distinct locations than one massive interconnected world, the same maximalist philosophy that defined the character roster. Go wide, not deep. Show off as many different DC environments as possible, even though it meant sacrificing the cohesion that made LEGO Batman 2's Gotham feel alive. And fans noticed. This design choice remains one of the most common criticisms of the game, and it's easy to see why. Exploration in a fragmented world just doesn't have the same sense of discovery and freedom.
Tense!
LEGO Batman 3 was directed by Arthur Parsons, with John Burton serving as game director and David A. Goodman handling writing duties alongside the directorial team. John Burton is a legend in game development. He started programming games as a teenager on the ZX Spectrum, teaching himself assembly language and pushing 8-bit hardware to do things it, honestly, had no business doing. By the time he was in his early 20s, he'd already made a name for himself with technically impressive ports and original titles. When Burton founded Traveler's Tales in 1989, he brought that obsessive technical perfectionism with him. The studio's early work included Sonic 3D Blast and Crash Bandicoot: The Wrath of Cortex, but it was the LEGO Star Wars series that truly defined TT Games' identity. Burton's vision was to create a game engine that could handle the unique challenges of LEGO: destructible environments, massive character rosters, and split-screen co-op that wouldn't tank the frame rate. By the time LEGO Batman 3 entered development, Burton had overseen the creation of a proprietary engine that was rock-solid, reliable, and optimized for annual releases. That engine is a huge part of why TT Games could pump out LEGO titles year after year without them falling apart. Burton's technical architecture gave the team a stable foundation, even when the creative ambitions threatened to spiral out of control. The soundtrack for LEGO Batman 3 is less about original composition and more about Sonic nostalgia packaged as playable fan service. Rob Westwood, a British composer, is credited with additional music, but the real heavy lifting comes from decades of iconic themes that precede him. Westwood's background is impressive in its own right. He started learning piano at age 6 and was already composing for games and films by 17. He's composed for many LEGO games, as well as the Remnant and Asgard's Wrath franchises. For LEGO Batman 3, Westwood's primary role was as performer and arranger rather than original composer. The game's soundtrack is essentially a greatest hits compilation of superhero music history. Neil Hefti's classic 60s Batman theme, Danny Elfman's entire 1989 Batman score, John Williams' classic theme from Superman, and some music by some composer whose name rhymes with Zan's Himmer, who will block this video from all territories and sue me into oblivion if I so much as hum one of his tunes. What Westwood did was curate this collection into a cohesive emotional experience. The game doesn't need original music, it triggers feelings you already have. LEGO Batman 3 assembled one of the most stacked voice casts in the franchise's history. The game features top-tier video game voice talent, including Troy Baker, Laura Bailey, Clancy Brown, and D. Bradley Baker voicing the primary antagonist, Brainiac. These are all seasoned performers who can juggle drama and comedy with equal skill, ensuring the game's humor lands exactly where it needs to. But the real story here is the celebrity and legacy casting that defines the term fan service. Adam West, the original Batman from the 1960s television series, appears throughout the game as the recurring citizen in peril character.
How many actors get a chance to create an iconic character that goes on, for Pete's sakes?
Having West involved was a brilliant move that tied the entire production back to Batman's television history and gave the game instant credibility with older fans. Kevin Smith appears as a playable LEGO version of himself, cementing his status as a professional comic book superfan. Such a superfan that he named his daughter after a supervillain, Harley Quinn Smith.
Like, are you like, man, I wish I had a different name, or do you like the fact that you're Harley Quinn?
No, it's so cool. I love it.
Really?
It's like my favorite thing about myself, I think. It's like
Something I had no control over is my favorite.
yeah.
Conan O'Brien shows up around the Watchtower as one of the non-playable tutorial characters. Because, why not? LEGO Batman 3 also features Joe Alasky's final performance as Daffy Duck, specifically in his green loon-turn persona from the old Duck Dodgers cartoons.
I mean, is there a brightness setting on this thing?
It's an odd little corner of the game, a Looney Tunes crossover that feels slightly out of place, but it gives the title an unexpected place in animation history as Alasky's last credited role before his passing in 2016. These casting choices were strategically curated to make the game appeal to multiple generations of DC fans simultaneously. It's another facet of the game's more is more philosophy, and in this case, it genuinely pays off. Warner Brothers' marketing of LEGO Batman 3 was both commercially brilliant and ethically suspect in equal measure. The trailers and promotional materials for the game hammered home the massive 150-plus character roster, the celebrity voice cameos, and the sheer scope of the adventure spanning multiple planets. The messaging was simple: look at how much stuff we're giving you. But the most audacious and cynical aspect of the marketing was the physical pre-order campaign. Warner Brothers decided to fragment the pre-order bonuses across every major North American retailer, with each store offering a different exclusive item. This was completionist exploitation disguised as smart retail strategy.
Pants!
And it worked. The game had a huge launch across all platforms. When LEGO Batman 3 released, critics landed in the generally favorable zone, with most versions scoring in the low to mid-70s on Metacritic. Reviewers consistently praised the game's humor, the sheer amount of fan service, the accessibility of the gameplay, and the massive amount of collectible content. But they were equally quick to point out the flaws. The dynamic split-screen camera in co-op was
Pants!
The abandonment of the unified open world from LEGO Batman 2 was seen as a step backward. Levels felt padded with filler, and the game occasionally overstayed its welcome with repetitive encounters and missions that dragged on too long. The critical reception reflects the game's core tension: quantity versus quality. Players seem to agree. The game sold well and has a dedicated fan base, but it's also the entry in the series that generates the most debate. For those building up their PS3 libraries like us here at Expedition PS3, LEGO Batman 3 is an easy acquisition. A used complete copy typically runs around 10 to 15 bucks on the eBays. If you want a sealed copy, plan on spending double. I'm looking at copies between $20 and $40. The game saw a massive simultaneous release across virtually every platform of the time, so the disc itself is anything but rare. The true LEGO Batman 3 collecting challenge isn't finding the game, it's hunting down the plastic detritus that orbited its 2014 launch. These items are significantly harder to find right now and command much higher prices on the secondary market than the actual game. LEGO Batman 3 Beyond Gotham is a fascinating study in what happens when a successful formula gets stretched to its absolute limit. It's a game that tried to be everything to everyone: a Batman game, a Justice League game, a Lantern Corps game, and a love letter to 75 years of DC history. The game succeeded in delivering massive fan service, letting players control obscure characters that they never thought would make it into a video game. The celebrity cameos and nostalgic music cues really clicked. The core LEGO gameplay remained familiar and fun, but it made trade-offs that fans are still debating. The loss of the unified open world stripped away what made LEGO Batman 2 special. Technical issues and padded levels revealed the strain of aggressive deadlines, and for a game with Batman's name on the box, he only accounts for a fraction of the experience, a perfect metaphor for a Batman sequel that ended up carrying the entire DC universe on its tiny plastic shoulders. Is it the best LEGO Batman game? As of now, no. That's still LEGO Batman 2. But ask me again next year.
I've got the whole world in my pants. I've got the whole wide world in my pants.
Joker, shut up.
Pants.
Thank you so much for joining us on the first of what is likely to be many LEGO game retrospectives here at Expedition PS3. If you're feeling commenty, let me know below who you think would win in a fight, Mr. Batstone or the Condiment King. And if you just prefer to be clicky, please like, subscribe, and hit the little bell thingy. Catch you on the flip side.